Hello again, fellow YouTubers. Solomon Pleasant back, and today we have another normal deck profile. I know I haven't done for a while, so finally got one finished that I can profile on here. So awesome. So let's get started. And we have Dark Irregulars. I finally managed to get another deck profile out for these guys. So as you can tell by the fact that this is an Amon build. If you couldn't tell by the title, yeah, this is an Amon build. So our starter is Amon's follower, Fate Collector. He has the pretty cool ability of the continuous. If the number of Dark Irregulars in your soul is 6 or more, he gets this auto ability of put this unit into the soul, and at the end of the battle phase that this unit boosted a Dark Irregular, you may pay the cost, and if you do, draw cards. So get one in the soul, get a free card. So it's a shame that he's only a one-time thing, but he's still pretty good for what he needs to do. And considering it's Amon, yeah, he helps. He helps. If I'm at like 5, I can. Oh wait, he works at 6. Okay, so he helps get one in the soul, and he gives me a free card. That's pretty nice. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to try to see if you guys can figure out what's the special little continuous thing that all Amon units have. Let's see if you can figure it out. Moving on, we got our trigger lineup. Run 4 draw. Amon's follower, Psychic Waitress. Pretty standard. Gonna let you see if you can figure that out. Run 4 stand. Amon's follower, Meteor Cracker. Gonna again give you the arc because I want to see if you guys can figure out the connection. Besides the fact that they're all named Amon. Run 4 crit. Amon's follower, Cruel Hand. So you can get a nice look at that. Now, it's a shame none of these Amon units really do anything, but at least they're Amon units. And finally, 4 heal. Amon's follower, Hell's Trick. And this is a really nice heal. I like this heal. It looks. Look at that. Look at you. Isn't that an adorable succubus right there? Isn't that adorable? So pretty much rainbow build, which I guess other people, if you want to use different builds, you can. I like the rainbow build because then I can say, hey, I have an Amon deck. Moving on to grade 1s. 3. Potent Darkness Amon. Now, some people use this, some people don't. It all depends on how much you want to use of it. Some people even use the grade 2. I do not use the grade 2 version because it's an 8K, but this guy's relatively good. He has the continuous ability of on Vanguard or Rearguard during my turn. If the number of Dark Irregulars in the soul is 6 or more, I get +3. So he's a 9K booster. So it's nice to have 3 of them. It's pretty nice because. Gonna just mess with the camera here a little bit. There we go. Because this way I can get some power off him. And he's an Amon unit. So another thing that I can just ride first turn and be like, yeah, I have an Amon unit. So, moving on. Run 4 P-Guards. Amon's follower, Vlad Spectula. I think this is my second deck where I actually managed to get 4 P-Guards for it, and I'm really happy about it. It's basically an Amon P-Guard, so you can do that. Has the Sentinel ability, so yeah. And that's pretty awesome. I'm proud of having 4 of these P-Guards. They're actually cheaper than the Nightmare Bunny, whatever, the other P-Guard, which I'm confused as to why, but I'm not really going to question it because it made it easier to get. So, happy about that. Moving on. I run 3 Amon's follower, Fao Jinlin. I hope I said that right. He's basically the Amon. 7K becomes a 10K when he attacks. So you can read that. And nice artwork, I will say. Only use 3 because 4 will be overkill for this, and I kind of want to keep 4 to just the P-Guards in this other unit, but this is still a good unit to have if I don't have other units on the field. So, there's that. And finally, for grade 1s, I run 4 Amon's Follower Hell's Draw. Or wait, no, this is Deal. I mixed them up. So, take a look at that. This arguably has one of the best skills, I think, for Dark Regs out there. It says, when this unit is placed on rearguard, if your Vanguard has Amon in its name, Soul Charge 2. So, I get 2 Soul Charge for calling this out. And I only take up 1 spot in the field. So, this is 2 Alluring Succubuses for the price of 1. And I love that. And it's a shame you can only use it for Amon, but most Dark Reg players are pretty much going to switch to Amon because of how good Amon Reverse is, which we'll get to in a second, but... So, regardless of that, it's a really good unit, and... Say you're on turn 1 and you don't use an Amon deck and you have Poet of Darkness as your Vanguard. Call this Soul Charge 2. Or say you have a grade 2 as your Vanguard that happens to have Amon in his name, like, Psycho Grave's a pretty good example for that because he doesn't bank on Amon. Call this out, Soul Charge 2. It's a really awesome unit, and I really am glad that they added this to the Dark Irregulars. So that's my grade 1 lineup. I'm going to move this over. Let's get our grade 2 lineup. And first, I run 4 Amon's Follower Hell's Draw. This is Hell's Draw. This is the same as Hell's Deal, pretty much. So, there's the skill right there. Another awesome looking succubus. I love the Hell Sisters. It's a shame that Hell's Trick doesn't do anything, but these two are pretty awesome on their own. Again, just call it Soul Charge 2. And they've got relatively good attack power, like this is a 9k, so I can get some really good use out of these guys. And say I ride normal Amon, then I can send this thing to the soul, and I get more free soul fodder. So, really good unit to have, and that's why I use 4 of it. Next, I run 3 Amon's Follower, Ron Geoline. And again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that. He's the standard 9k attacker for Amon. With, again, a really nice looking artwork right there. The reason I only run 3, I debated 4, but I realized 4 would kind of, again, be overkill, and you really want to run 3 to 4 this guy, though. You don't want to run any less, because then you're really not going to get any much use out of him. You want to run 3 or 4 of any type of attacker that gets +3, which is pretty much standard in almost every clan, except for a couple. So, there's that. And finally, for my last grade 2, I run 4 Amon's Follower Psycho Grave. This is another really good addition to just the Dark Irregulars all in general, because this guy says, Counterblast 1, and when he's placed on Vanguard or Rearguard, and the number of Dark Irregulars in the Soul 6 or more, pay the cost. If I do, Soul Charge 1, I get +5. So, this is a really good unit, in my opinion, for Dark Irregulars in general, because this guy basically says, oh, you got 6 in the Soul for Dark Irregulars, I get +5 and you get another thing in the Soul to help you out with. So, it's pretty much Counterblast 1, and I get win all around. So, that's why I use 4 of this guy. A really good unit to have. Really good unit to have in really any Dark Reg deck. And he's an Amon, so say you want to run one of the sisters, you can ride him on Vanguard, use his skill, and then use the sister skill. So, he's pretty awesome that way. Now for the grade 3s. Now, I'm gonna move this again. My grade 3 lineup is a little bit meh. A little bit confusing, and I'll explain how I run this in a second. It's gonna be odd, but bear with me. First off, I run 2 Master of the 5th Element. Now, a lot of you are like, dude, why are you running Master of the 5th Element? He sucks. He actually isn't that bad. He's a relatively okay unit to have. Granted, he's a 10k, so he's not as good as some of the others, but let's just look at him. First, he has a continuous limit break ability of, during my turn, if the number of Dark Irregulars I have is 10 or more in the Soul, all my units get +3. All of them, including this guy. So, this guy becomes a... So, 5-4 damage, 10 the Soul, 13 attack, 2 side columns that, since I'm going to assume I have grade 2s there that are 9k by themselves, they become 12ks, and most of my boosters are either 7 or 6, so I'm gonna get a 9 or 10 column for a total of a 22 column at a 22 column at the most, which will require more than a 10 guard at least. Also, I actually don't necessarily run for this skill because, again, he's not an Amon, so it's not really good to have him on Vanguard. I do play him on Vanguard for that chance that I can use this secondary ability of when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you may pay the cost, and if you do, Soul Charge 3 for a Counterblast 1. So this is basically, I think it's Emblem Master. I'm not sure. It's the guy that it's the grade 3 version of that grade 2 double rare that's really good for most Dark Break decks, except for Amon because he's not an Amon. So basically he's there for that late game soul charge when I don't have enough in the soul and I don't have an Amon in my hand. So really good unit to have. I would understand using break rides for him, and if I were to obtain more break rides, I may consider swapping this guy out for him, but I kind of like his art, so I may just keep it that way, and also this deck's finished, so I may not really want to look into that, but we'll see what happens. So, 2 of this guy. I then run 2 Demon World Marquise Amon. You kind of want to run Amon in this deck. You need at least 1. Any less, and you don't have an Amon deck. You really don't. It's really hard to get this guy, though. That's why I only have 2, and here's why. During my turn, I get +1 power for each Dark Irregular in the Soul, in a Dark Regs deck, which focuses on the Soul. Can you see where I'm coming from here? He also has the ability of Act, Counterblast 1, choose a Dark Irregular rearguard, put into the Soul, I kill one of my opponents, and my opponent kills one of his or her rearguards. So, get some food, kill a thing. Amon overall is arguably the best Dark Reg unit, period. Like, for any deck. And I would recommend, if you want to go full Amon, run 4 of this guy, or at the very minimum 3. I only run 2 because it's really hard to get this guy, and that's pretty much my only reason. It's really hard to come by these things. So, if I get more, I will definitely use them, but for now, I can only use 2. Moving on. 1 King of Masks Dantarian. I think that's what it is. It's the Dark Regs Break Ride with get +10, and I choose up to 3 rearguards until the end of the turn. They get the continuous ability of this unit gets +1 for each Dark Reg in the Soul. So I give 3 rearguards the ability of Amon. Also has the nifty ability of Soul Charge 1, I get +1 when I attack. Not bad. Only use 1 because I only have 1. If I get more, I may use more, but again, replacing Master of the 5th over there, I get more Amon, I replace Master of the 5th. So that's pretty much how it is. So you guys can interpret that to your imagination, and if I get more, I may do another profile just to see how that all stacks out, but here's how it is as it is. Honestly, the only reason I was just like, hey, if I get one, I'll use it, and I was kind of meh about break rides, is because when I show off the Amon reverse ability and the normal Amon ability, I mean, you break ride that, get +10, sure, but he gets +1 for each unit in the Soul, so already, if I have at least 10 in the Soul, with a booster, Amon swings in for a big number. Amon is a big number unit, so giving him another +10,000 really isn't going to make a difference. Now, the extra ability of giving the other units this Amon ability does have its advantages, but just break riding for the power really doesn't make sense if my opponent's just going to P-guard whatever Amon's coming in for anyway. So that's why I'm somewhat indifferent about the break ride, but I can understand why people would use him because he can be good for, like, the rearguard base. And finally, I run 3 Demon Marquise Amon Reverse. Amon Reverse is boss, in short. He has the ability of Act, Limit Break 4, choose one of my Dark Irregular units, lock it, and I get Amon's skill, get +1 for each Dark Reg in the Soul, and if the number of Dark Regs in the Soul is 6 or more in a Dark Reg deck, this unit gets +1 critical until the end of the turn. So, basically, if I have more than 6, I go crit, and I have Amon's power. Also, he has the cross-ride ability of get +2. So he can become a 13k by himself, or become a powerhouse by himself, and also go crit. So I really like him on reverse. He's a really effective unit. Brake riding him, get +10. Again, the brake ride I think is more for the rear guards, because giving him on +10 when Amon can use that skill of getting +1 for each unit in the soul, it really just says, hey, my opponent better P-guard this or they're gonna die anyway, so there's that. I would like to show a battle formation for this, but I really don't, because this deck really doesn't have one. It really just says, really what you do is, once you ride him on reverse, you stay at him on reverse. You don't go to anything else. That's really the only thing. You can cross ride him, you can ride him on top of King of Masks, you can brake ride him, you can do anything with him. So he's really a multi-purpose thing. And again, as you can see by this isn't the best. Let me zoom out for a second. There we go. And honestly, here's how an ideal one would work. And you would play it, if you played it where it was 3 normal Amons, 3 reverse Amons, and 2 brake rides, that'd be pretty good, but I like my Master of the 5th Element, so I may just keep him. Also, I have other decks that I want to work on, so I don't necessarily feel like focusing on this anymore, because I feel like this deck is at a good spot. It's good where it is, in my opinion. So, again, I would love to show battle formation, but there really isn't a specific one for this deck. Next deck profile I do, hopefully I can do that. And I'm kind of downsizing, getting rid of some of my decks that I haven't finished, just because I know I'm not going to finish them, because I have other things going on, so I kind of want to just have decks that I have finished, and then leave them at that, but I will guarantee that I can at least do one more. Maximum is probably going to be like 3, maybe 5 at the most, but I can guarantee at least one more profile. I think the magic number might be 3, but I'm not good with numbers, so I'm not going to promise anything. I can at least promise one more. That much I can promise, because I do have one more deck that needs 1 more unit, and it's finished, and then I can preview it, and it will have a battle formation, because it does have a legitimate battle formation, but this is still a legitimate good House of Amon deck, and I wanted to make it full House of Amon, but normal Amon over here decides to be expensive. And I'm just gonna kind of give you a look at that now. Now, if you guys guessed what is the theme with the Amon units, comment below, and maybe I'll do something. Maybe I won't. I promise nothing. That is what I can guarantee. I think this video has come up after I've uploaded the 500 subscriber thing. I again want to say thank you for that. I want to do more of these. Hopefully I can do at least one more box opening on this channel. I want to at least get one more box opening. But yeah, that's all I'll have to say. I'm glad I finished this deck. It's finally done, so I can move on to other stuff I have. So that's all I got. This has been Solomon Pleasant, signing off.